Turn our volume up. And there we go. That should be plenty fine. Greetings and salutations, travelers. Welcome back to the Inn of Planar Crossroads, and welcome back to our open legend game, Misadventures Continued. And you see that the display is different this time. We've got our normal type of display going. In fact, we even have some art by the star of the show himself. But we'll get to that in a minute. First, a disclaimer. This is a kid-friendly, family-friendly kind of podcast. Nothing crazy, inappropriate's going to go on here. So, this is one you can watch with the kids or listen to and get them into gaming. Also, the Inn of Planar Crossroads has its Patreon and Subscribe Star going, so if you want to support us on either one of those, you can do so. We actually have a giveaway this month of April, is when we're recording this, and it is going to be, at the end of the month, we're going to give away to our patrons or Subscribe Stars a Rick and Morty Splat book for 5e, 5th edition's Dungeons and Dragons. And while I don't play that, I can appreciate someone who wants to have that kind of weirdness come into their game. So you could either keep it in 5e or you could convert it. There's ways to do that. So, our current session is session 1, our first official kind of running session of Misadventures Continued. And we're going to be doing that right now. Oh, almost forgot. We are almost to 500 subscribers, so once we hit 500 subscribers, we're probably going to be doing some really fun and interesting giveaways. And go ahead and get us up that high if you can. Tell your friends about us, because we'll be doing probably at least 2 physical thing giveaways, and then more than likely a game giveaway, like a one-shot giveaway. So hopefully you'll see us there. But for now, let's get into our game. So this being the first session, we're actually going to be giving a little bit of backstory to what's going on. Not a lot, because we'll let you guys discover things as things happen in the game. And let me see. We're going to be, according to the backstory for Caesar, he is he's squatting in an old lord farm, which is that cluster of abandoned buildings that if you remember back in Misadventures of the Southern Colony, the first series of this in Pathfinder, Moon had passed through those, and that's where some of the Durgar were hiding, was at the outskirts of that, because it was close to where the mountains were, or not necessarily close to the mountains, but it was the closest structures to the mountains, at least regarding Crosstown. The most, let me see, northeast, southwest, most westernly of those buildings. Now, Caesar has been living there, and as you can see on the thing, he believes his age to be about 15. He does not know or think he has any parents. As far as he understands, he was created, as best he can guess, by Granny Snook's sister. Bum, bum, bum. So we'll probably have Granny Snook in this somewhere. But for now, we've had some interesting things go on, because we're going to pick up on a morning that starts like pretty much any morning for Caesar. He has woken up, and there's a strange quietness in the air. So Caesar wakes up in the morning. What does Caesar usually do in the morning, Andy?
He usually gets up and eats.
Okay. That sounds appropriate.
After he gets his clothes on. So Caesar, is he
in this grassy area that used to be farmland and has since grown up. In this particular abandoned farmhouse, is it a single story or is it a two-story?
It's a two-story.
Okay, so you're in the two-story
Second story.
Farmhouse, and you're used to the quiet, but Caesar, make me a. You don't really need a perception roll or anything for it. It's notable. There's a lot less noise than there usually is, because even as far away as you are from Crosstown, there's usually some hustle and bustle in the morning, but you don't hear anything. So as you're coming down and starting to, as Caesar's coming down and starting to get his breakfast, he senses that quietness. What would you like to do?
I would like to eat oatmeal.
Okay.
With moose milk.
You probably have some oatmeal, but you do not have moose milk because there's not any moose around here. So
what about mutated moose with two heads?
There's not any mutated moose with two heads around here. This is not Fallout. So, what would you like to do? You have your oatmeal, and it takes a few minutes to cook, but nothing crazy. And you've cooked it a few times before, so you're able to make that. It's plain oatmeal, and there you go. You've got all your equipment with you, I guess. You've got your sawtooth blade, and your dagger, and your crossbow, and stuff.
And
your hood.
It shows it right there.
Well, they can't see the pointer.
I know.
But he has that's not a collar, that's where his hood is. Mm-hmm. And he can put his hood up, okay. Alright. And now tell the people what your character looks like, because some people might just be listening to this. So what does Caesar look like?
Well, he's pale, for one.
Like white pale or gray
white.
Pale? Okay, white pale.
Very white.
Like milk white, not like our kind of white, I'm assuming.
Very white.
Okay.
His hair is black and spiky. A little bit.
Okay.
And he wears something you slide on with the metal shoulders.
Some armor. He has some armor, yeah. I believe we started you off with some lighter leather armor with the metal pauldrons on the top.
Metal.
Right.
But he can move his arms on this high.
Yes, you have to speak up.
They don't affect him moving his arms up high.
Right. We made sure it was light armor so it didn't interfere with your dexterity. And what about his eyes and his face?
His eyes are white.
Okay.
But the color of his eyes don't really have a color. It's just black.
No,
like
wait. His eyes are white.
His eyes are white, but all the pupil is obviously black, and you think that place that would
iris,
usually have color.
The iris is also black. Okay, so completely black eyes. Completely black irises but his sclera, the white part of his eye, is still white.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I understand what you're saying now. And that's basically what he's got going on. How tall is he?
Around your height, which is around 6 to 7 feet.
I'm not 7 feet. I'm
6, 5 or 6.
He's 6 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
Taller than me?
About 3 inches tall.
Well, then that'd be, 6 feet. Well, 6'1", 6 feet. I haven't been measured in a while, folks. So, right about 6 feet tall. Okay. The reason I ask everyone is because, as we established before, your height does kind of affect things when you're transforming, because you can go, depending on your level and shape, your proficiency with shape-shifting, the shape-shift boon. And that's why we wanted to make sure that your alteration level was at least a 5, so that you could go 1/4 or 4 times, 4 one way or the other of your height. So that was good. And we're just establishing that in-game for canon. And otherwise, he's just kind of dressed. Does he wear rags, or does he have clothes that are, still good? Or
he doesn't
does he wear
rags.
fancy stuff?
He doesn't wear fancy stuff. He just wears a leather thing.
Regular work stuff?
Not regular work stuff. He wears it where it's that type of... It's that type of leather that's resistant to rain. Okay,
so kind of a waxed or a treated leather, an oiled leather.
But he does get it dirty sometimes, and he has to use some of his water supply.
Okay. So basically we've got a guy that's got some armor on. He's not wearing anything fancy, just some normal clothes you might see anybody walking around the street in. Okay. And you've finished your Caesar has finished his food by now, and there's still this quietness.
I go out and check around the house, the farmhouse.
Okay, let me go ahead and pull up your character sheet, because we didn't do that yet. The Great Mustache from the Discord has shared it with us, a different sheet, and I transferred it all over before we started, so we're going to be using that sheet. We may show you at some point if you guys want to see. Maybe when he levels up or something significant happens with his statistics. But we'll just put that over here and right over here. So when you roll in Open Legend, you roll a d20, and then you also roll whatever your dice is for your statistic, whatever your score gives you of dice. Now you have 1 in perception, so that means you get a d4 to go along with your d20. So go ahead and roll that. That is a 10
and 2.
A 10 plus 2. So with a 12, you're able to kind of look around, and it's not about midsummer. No, it's early summer. It's early summer, so still.
Springish?
Well, it hasn't hit the heat of summer. It hasn't gotten really hot. Right now, it's just early summer. And the grass is really high. Sometimes the haymakers will come in and cut down the grass in this area for hay, but they haven't this year yet. Not this time this year. However, it makes it hard, even at 6 feet, it makes it hard to sometimes see all the way that you want to see to look around. And you're looking around all around you, or just around
all around the house, like around the house.
Okay. With the 12, you definitely are able to pick out that there's, just in this spot here where you are, there's noise like you would expect, like the insects are going and things like that. But noise otherwise, it's one of those things. The house that you're in faces towards the north, so as you go out and you start to go around the side in the west, which west of your house, which would kind of be towards the valley lake and towards the mountain area, you hear noise and stuff like that. You look south towards the Dormer Mounds, and you don't hear anything off. I mean, everything sounds fine. And when you first came out of your house, you were facing the Iron Stronghold, which the dwarves control, and the surface dwarves control, and you could even see little wafts of smoke way over there on that hill where they are, even over some of the trees that occasionally pop up along the road. But when you face towards Crosstown, it's very, very quiet.
Maybe they're still sleeping.
Well,
some people may still be sleeping, like the lazy ones.
It's possible. It's possible that that's the case.
He's an early one. Usually.
He gets up early?
Unless he's up really late.
Well, we're going to say that you're up at your normal time today. So he got up before sunup or with the sun or what?
He usually gets
after
up
the sun?
Around 5 in our time.
Okay. So in the summertime, sun would be already come up and everything. And it's usually by the time you've finished your breakfast, you can hear stuff. Caesar can hear stuff over there because the shops are already opening. And sometimes if the wind blows right, he can smell the bread baking in the bakery way off in town. You don't see or you don't hear or smell anything like that today.
Maybe they're off, he says.
Maybe. You're not familiar with a lot of the customs. You haven't gone into Crosstown very much, has Caesar, or is he well known there?
He's gone there occasionally to get bread if he can't find any wheat around.
Okay, so he doesn't go into town a lot?
Well, sometimes he goes to the butcher and sometimes he goes to the bakery. He saves his meat and salt, though.
Okay. So he doesn't go into town a lot. He stays out of town most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the individual that the people you've interacted with, especially that baker, would be up by now. He has to make bread fresh every day, and you don't hear anything over there.
I go and check. I made a little in his days. I want it to be where he made a little path, like a little line that leads him there in case the grass gets super high.
Okay. Well, you do have access to the road. The road is still there, and it doesn't get too grown up in the summertime. So you could use the road, or you could use your little path.
The little path is technically faster. It cuts through.
Cuts across and doesn't wind with the road. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes you a few minutes to get there, and as you're progressing, as you're getting closer and closer to Crosstown, you keep looking and expecting there to be noise. You keep expecting the cart and stuff like that to be there. The cart noise, the horses, the dogs barking, things like that.
Maybe the people got kidnapped.
Well, you don't hear anything. You don't hear any of that. And as you get closer and closer, you don't even see any of the guards up on the... Because you kind of watch at the city gates and stuff like that, and you don't even see any of the guards up there on the towers.
Maybe they were kidnapped and put into a cage or a different dimension.
Hmm.
For Granny Snooks. For Granny Snook's sister. Or wizard.
Don't know. But as you get closer and closer and closer, you don't see or hear anybody. And by the time you get to the gates, all the carts are still sitting where they usually sit. And all the food is still there. That it's like it has been set out for the day, but no one's there.
Maybe they're ghosts.
Don't know.
Maybe they were turned into wisps. Or people eating chests. Or people eating tomatoes. Even though that's on the Raspberry Pi.
So, you're there at the gates, and all of this stuff is set out.
Well, I peep into a window.
Okay.
See if anybody's inside.
You walk up to a window and look in?
Mm-hmm.
Or you sneak up to a window and look in?
I go into one of those alleyways. You know that alleyway that a guard caught Moon in?
Oh, okay.
It's like that alleyway, but it's closer to it. But the buildings are like this close to each other.
I understand what you mean. They aren't built that close in that town, but I understand what you mean. There are some that are closer. So you look around. You don't see any guards. You don't see any people walking around. So you kind of look around, and it's really eerily quiet. And you go, it's one of those feelings where your footsteps even make a noise that seems loud, but you know they're not. It just seems loud in this quiet town. And as you walk on those stones, the echoing of those footfalls hits off a few of the buildings and comes back to you. And you turn down the alleyway to get a look.
I put my hood on.
Okay. Are you still... I need to ask, do you go to town in your base form, or do you have a more human-looking form that you take on, or what?
I mean, I usually go as someone I've seen traveling.
Okay, so is that what you do this time?
He looks a bit smaller than me, about 5.5 foot tall.
Okay.
It's more of a hook nose.
Okay.
But more like this.
They can't see that. So yes, I understand what you mean.
I'm talking to you.
Yes. So a shorter than average, hooked nose traveler looking individual is what you shift into. And that's the person that you usually come into town as, so that's who we're going to run with for now.
I put my hood on.
Okay. And you're in that alleyway, and so you're going to look in and check on things. Okay. You look in, and there's food on the table, and it looks like it's undisturbed. Like someone had just made breakfast.
What if everybody just vanished to thin air and turned into air?
Who knows?
I go into the bar.
Well, you're looking in a house right now. Okay, so you go to one of the buildings. I go to
Golden Wheat.
The Golden Wheat.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I go in and I get a pancake, and I put the money on the table for if they come back.
So you go make yourself a pancake.
Mhm.
Okay, so you...
I'm pretty sure he knows how to if he can make oatmeal. If he can grind the oatmeal and put it in a bowl. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that.
Well, oatmeal isn't always ground. It's husked and things like that, but that's beside the point. Yeah, making a flapjack pancake is not really something that's out of the realm of his abilities. So you go to the Wheat. Have you been to this particular bar before? This particular inn is technically what it is, a tavern.
Yes, he's been there a couple times, 2 times.
Okay,
He went there when he was around 14, and he went there when he was around 10.
Okay, so you would have probably met Moon, because it's been,
6 years?
No, it's been about 8 years. Moon's an adult now. So it's been... Because Moon was 10 when he started adventuring.
No, he was 8 or 9, wasn't he?
I'm not sure.
I think he was 8.
It's been about... We'll round it off. It's been about 10 years since Moon started off. So he's a full adult, and he's grown quite strong, and he's definitely made a name for himself in the area. But he always likes to come back to the golden wheat, and he has a special room reserved for him there whenever he comes back off of his adventures. And he likes to tell stories about the adventures that he's been on to those around him. The now aging barmaid, bar woman that was a proprietor in conjunction with her husband of this particular golden grain, loved to hear him tell the stories of what he'd been up to. And him and the sheriff would always... The sheriff was always... Sheriff was always slightly envious of him getting to go off an adventure, but Moon getting to go off an adventure, but the sheriff not. And occasionally they snuck off and would adventure some. But you're looking back on that now, and Caesar looks around the room, and it's quiet.
I go and check on Moon's room.
Okay. You go to check on Moon's room. It's locked right now. So, what do you want to do?
I look in the keyhole. Wait, did they use keys, or did they just use a latch thing?
Both were employed, but yes, there is a keyhole.
Look through the keyhole. No, I turn into a fly.
You turn into a fly?
And I buzz
That's too small right now.
Then I turn into a beetle.
That's not much bigger than a fly.
It's bigger than a fly.
I tell you what. If you make me a check and you succeed at it, I will let you turn into something smaller than you're supposed to be turning into. Okay?
So basically cheat the rules?
No, because that's how this system works. You can mold the rules are just there to give you a framework to work off of.
Okay.
So, your alteration is a score of 5, so you get to roll a d20 plus 2d6. So you could possibly hit this DC.
17 plus 5 plus 1.
Okay, add it up then. 17.
23.
18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23.
Do I succeed?
Unfortunately not. You get yourself down, 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 and you squeeze down. And the smallest you can make yourself. Let me see. You're 6 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you're going to be really small, a little over a foot and something, a little more than that. So you're about almost a 2-foot beetle, like standing there, really big, in front of his door.
I turn back quickly just in case he's in there.
Okay, so you come back up.
I don't want to be slain with that katana.
But while you were a beetle, you gained beetle senses. So, you did sense that there was no one on the other side of that door. Your little feelers couldn't smell anybody or anything like that.
I could turn into a stink beetle and stink the whole place up while the guards are gone.
The guards are gone.
Mm-hmm.
As far as you know, you haven't seen anybody.
I turn into a cloud.
A cloud?
Clouds can be big.
Clouds can be big. And I don't remember reading anything in the boons.
That's just
Let me make sure that you can shapeshift. That you can turn into unsubstantial things. Does not gain any alternate form, but you do gain forms as flying movement, shapeshift, living creature, elemental, ooze, or plant. Alright, that's the next power level. of being able to turn into something with a different physiology than a living creature. So when you level up next, the next time you put something into shapeshift, you'll be able to change into mist or element, or even elements like fire beings and stuff like that. But for now, it's got to be some kind of physical thing.
Hey, what about Hellboy?
You have not seen a Hellboy, so you don't know
I
what that
could turn
is.
into a person with horns that are shaped down.
You could do that. You could change into that shape. But
How about I turn into an angel? And I go and I fly off into the sky. I'm a high enough level to have wings.
You are a high enough level to have wings.
That work.
Yeah, that work. So you could change into like a bird or something like that and fly.
I turn into a hummingbird and I go near the forest and suck on all.
Hummingbirds are too small.
And I want to suck on all the nectar.
Uh-huh.
And hummingbirds do that.
So are you going to try and get in that room, or are you going to go do other things?
How about I turn into a dragon? A small dragon.
Well, you know that if you turn into a young dragon right now, that your body will be too heavy for the stairs to support it. You will break the balcony that you're on.
I want to go outside.
Okay, you have to say that.
And go into the grass like a mile before I do that.
So you want to leave town?
I want to leave town about half a mile then, I guess. Because I don't think small dragons are big enough to...
A young dragon isn't very big. It's like it's about as big as a one-story house, at the most, for a young dragon.
So, I want to turn into a young dragon.
Okay. You can do that. You have the time and the proficiency, and you understand the physiology of a dragon well enough to kind of get an idea. Now, is this like a dragon you see in Dungeons and Dragons that has 4 legs and wings and stuff like that, or is this a Chinese-style dragon, or a serpentine dragon, or is this a
snake with wings. A snake with wings. A giant cobra with wings.
Okay, that's more of a Quetzalcoatl, not a...
What about those things in the Bible that are snakes with those little tiny arms? Those wings.
I do not remember.
I've seen a picture of them.
Okay, that doesn't mean they were in the Bible.
One?
A snake, a little lizard with wings, type thing.
No, I mean a snake with wings.
A long, multi-legged lizard with wings.
No, it doesn't. I want it to have 2 legs up here at the front.
So you want it to be like the dragon off of, kind of like the dragon off of Dragon Ball Z.
That one's way too big.
Yes, it is way too big. But it's
Hey, what about
like
the Super Shenron?
You can't be that big. You can look like that.
Okay, I want to look like that. I want to be golden. I want to be shiny.
Okay, how big do you want to be? Do you want to be a big creature? Do you want to be a large creature?
I mean a miniature creature about this long and this big.
So about at your smallest size, then you want him to be your smallest size you can be, which is about a foot, a little over a foot plus. Okay.
Do I need to roll?
Not for that, because that's well within your wheelhouse, and you don't have anybody pressuring you right now. So you kind of go out of town for a minute, come back as that, and you're flying, I guess?
Yeah, I fly over town.
Okay.
And I look around in those tight spaces, and I sneak in a mouse hole. And
well,
then
you're a serpent, so you're serpentine, so your body's long, but you can compress, you can squish down some.
Hey, can I turn into an octopus? Those smaller octopuses. I mean, the smaller octopuses. They're kind of big, but they're jelly. They're jelly looking. They can squeeze through holes this big. The last time
Caesar tried to turn into an octopus, he realized they have to breathe water. So you could be an octopus really quickly.
I mean, some octopuses breathe air, like those little tiny ones with those air bag holes on their heads.
Those air holes on their head, those vents on their head are to pass things through their gill system.
Also,
it's not
I'll
gills,
just talk to you off this
about
them.
So.
What squeezed through as big as this?
Yes, they squeeze through holes. Is that what you're wanting to change into instead of the dragon?
How about a goopy thing,
That's a form change. That's a form change.
Kind of like a slime, but he would know how slimes work.
That's a form change, though.
Yeah.
You have to be power level 6 to do that.
What power level am I?
5. Right there. Alteration 5. So, what do you want to do then? Are you going to go with an octopus? Or are you going to do something else? Are you going to be still
What about a mind flare?
You don't know what those are. You've
yes,
never
I
encountered
do!
One. You, the person, does, but Caesar has never met one. Nothing in your backstory says that talks about meeting any other creatures. I'm already giving you a lot of leeway with the dragons.
Okay, I'll turn into I'll just keep being that
what?
Snake. I'll keep being that little snake with jelly wings. Wings of jelly.
They're not jelly wings. They're wings, though. So you want to fly over town instead of squeezing under the door. Gotcha.
So look around, and what do I see?
Okay, so make me another perception check, and do so with advantage, which means you roll the d4 again.
Wait, this is a d4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 6, 2,
okay,
and 4.
So what happens with advantage is you drop the 2, and you keep the 4, because you have advantage. So 6 plus 4. 10.
It's not as good as my last one.
No. But it's enough for you to see that the town, it's not just right here in this particular district. It's not just the center of town. It is all of Crosstown is empty.
I start flying to Granny Snook's then to see if she did anything about it.
Have you ever been to Granny Snook's place?
Yes.
Your backstory does not talk about met Granny Snook, which is why you're supposed to flesh out your backstory.
Yes.
No.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
I looked.
If it talks about her sister, it talks about her.
No, because they don't live together.
Okay. Well, I still know about her.
You know about her, but you've never been to her house, so to fly to it would be difficult because you've never been there.
Then I fly near the dead woods because I know where that is. I can see it, can't I?
Okay, that's 2 or 3 days, 2.5 days of flying. More like 2 days of flying. Because remember, it took you 3 days to get Asmoon from Valley Lake all the way to Crosstown, and that's about the same distance.
What about Dormer Mounds? That's closer.
Nobody goes to Dormer Mounds. You've heard people talking in Crosstown that Dormer Mounds is not a nice place to visit.
Why?
They say that the dead don't sleep there, and that they infest the dead wood nearby, and Dormer Mounds is where all their disturbed and uneasy sleep happens.
Then why are they so close to Crosstown? Those things.
No one's drove out anything. The people that come back from Dormer Mounds don't come back the same. They come telling stories of spooks and specters and skeletons and apparitions.
I turn into a skeleton. I really want to see what
You're currently flying. You want to turn into a skeleton right now.
No, because then I'd shatter.
Okay.
So
you're flying over Crosstown.
I want to land on a roof.
You're flying over Crosstown. You don't see anything new, but you still see that all of the town is affected. What?
What if they went to Dormer Mounts?
Don't know. So, you've landed like you wanted to.
On a roof.
On a roof.
And I turned into a skeleton.
Okay, you turn into a skeleton.
With grabby cans.
You turn into a skeleton, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what are you going to do on the roof as a skeleton in the middle of daytime?
But then they burn. Bones don't burn in this.
No. Unless
they're in a fire.
You don't seem to be ill-affected by the sunlight. You're just a skeleton up on a roof.
Yeah. I'm a skeleton on a roof.
Doing what?
Doing the hokey pokey.
Uh-huh. So, all of your friends are missing. All the people that you know.
And I'm on a roof as a skeleton doing the hokey pokey.
Okay. Well, when you're finished
3 hours.
No, you're not up there for 3 hours.
Why?
Because you would faint from dancing for 3 hours straight.
The hokey pokey's easy.
That's not the point. So, you have made you've danced the hokey pokey as a skeleton up on the roof. Now, all your friends are currently missing, and
I look in the sewers.
Okay, so that's the next place you want to go look?
I turn into a water snake. Once I get down there, that is.
Well, you want to just jump down into the sewers? Because they do have an access to it that you could get into.
Is it deep? Like, far down?
It's a little bit of a drop, but it drops into water, so...
I turn into a water snake.
Okay.
And take 5 points of damage.
No, you don't take any... you wouldn't take any damage because it slides down into the water. So you just kind of splash into the water as a snake. And you're in this poopy pee water. So
snakes don't get affected by it, especially since I don't have clothes on right now in it.
Well, technically it doesn't say whether your clothes change with you or not. We're running it like they do. I didn't remember reading if it does or not, but I'm not sure. We're running it like they do change with you. So, you have all of your clothes and gear. So what do you want to do? You look around down here?
I go down and see if there's any holes that lead anywhere under there. Like, at least a little hole that's been blocked off by a piece of dirt or a rock. Do I see anything?
You can make me another perception check to see, but how long do you want to spend doing this? Because the sewers are under a lot of the town.
I'm just gonna do it for like maybe 30 minutes.
Okay.
Do I find any? A 2 and a 3.
A 2 and a 3?
It's fine. I don't see anything, do I?
You don't really see anything interesting as far as caves or anything like that. You kind of come up for air and you kind of look around and stuff, and you kind of get out and change back, and you kind of sit there for a little bit and it's like, where?
Hey, Moon told them about his first adventure with the sheriff. No, he didn't do it with the sheriff. That was the dwarves, the grayish dwarves, which are underground ones.
You mean when you think he would have told Caesar the story of going down and fighting the Rat King?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's a fair assumption. Moon likes to tell his stories. So, Is that what you want to do then? Is look down where the Rat King was?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wait, will there be any undead?
Who knows? No one hears you unless you speak up.
I'm talking straight to you.
Mm-hmm. But it's nowhere near as funny, you saying that, just to me. But anyway, you kind of know where it is. You've not been down there necessarily before.
Are there any enemies?
Well, that's what we're going to find out. So you go poking around and looking around. You remember, it's more clearly marked now, because after its discovery, it's been 10 years, and after its discovery, people have used it, actually. The city actually came in and cleaned it out and used it. So it's not super difficult to find. So you follow the indicators that they've put in there now, and you go bumping and moving around, and what's here right there?
As a snake.
As a snake, okay. So you're snaking and slithering around, and you're looking up and around and stuff, and you get to the door, and it's a door. There's a door there now where the crack was before, where the crevice was before that the sheriff and Moon went through. So, you don't think you're going to open that as a snake.
Can I go under it? Or is it sealed? Sealed.
It is not sealed. So you kind of look and you think that you might be able to squeeze through. So if you try.
So I squish down like.
Okay.
Make me squish down and try and get through.
Make me an agility check. So your agility score is
3.
So you get a D8.
Oh.
So
6 and 2
is how much?
8.
You are able to make it through. However, you get kind of stuck, and you have to yank, and it does a little bit of damage to your scales there. So that's going to be a point of damage. I don't think your hit points are calculated right, so we'll do that later. We'll do that in a minute. But 1 damage is how much you take. So you are able to squeeze through. You kind of make your way. Are you still a snake at this point?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm doing this.
You're watching behind you, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm seeing how much damage he did. And I'm seeing if anybody's following me. Anything, to be exact.
Okay. You don't see anybody following you. You don't, with your snaky tongue, don't smell
that's why
anybody following you.
That's their split. That's what the splits are for. Following the blood.
They smell. They use the tongue to smell.
That's with a type of lizard. Those big lizards.
Snakes
Komodo
and,
dragon.
Snakes and lizards some lizards tend to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't see anyone behind you. You don't smell anyone behind you, and it's otherwise normal-ish. I mean, as normal as it is.
I turn into a mouse or a rat.
It'd be a big rat, like a possum-sized rat.
I turn into I keep snake.
You keep snake. Okay, no possums. It is
because I think there's something down here. Okay.
So you keep moving and going on, and
wait, Daddy. Do the teeth do as much damage as the things I have, like my knife and my spiked sword?
Well, no, your sword, your your physical things would do more than some of these smaller creatures. So,
like this.
Right.
I want to be a poisonous one, but I don't have any poison.
Well, you can technically change into venomous creatures. So
can
that
I
is
turn
possible.
into that snake that could kill a lion? I mean, they're like long, but
you can be a snake. We'll work out the snake thing. We'll have you little cards for what you can transform into. How about that? We'll make up some cards. But for now, you go ahead and you make your way down, and you come to the pretty much the same area that you've heard described to you. But now it's more of a storage area. The city uses it mainly for storing different things and such like that. It looks dust covered, and there doesn't seem to be anybody down here.
So I look behind all the stuff, see if I see any cracks or something like that.
Okay, so you start to look around through different things and around different ways, and for maybe not the first time that you've come, because you could smell things, you still smelt the town and stuff like that, and you didn't notice it until all the smells were kind of gone, and after you got away from the sewer type smell. But down here there's a slight breeze coming up way back in the corner. There's this breeze that's coming through a crack that you couldn't be very big to get through it. So now you're fine, but like a humanoid. An adult human of average size would have to kind of dunk down and maybe even get on their hands and knees. You can slither through fine, but what tips you off is as you're going through that way.
I look at the edges first. When I go in there, I look at the edge a little bit, and I smell a little bit, and I look above me and smell a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. You smell, as you're continuing to go, you smell something. It's not super familiar, but it is a distinct smell. You're not sure what it is, but it's a smell that has kept on being there.
Like rat smell.
It has persisted. There we go. It has persisted. No, not a rat smell.
Like the Rat King? What about his little henchman thingies? Like those tiny little rats that poison the Shiree, I think is what it's called.
The Shiree? Mm-hmm. No, it's not a rat smell. You're not sure what type of smell it is right now, but you know you're going to remember it because it was odd, kind of alkaline, a bit of a kind of like a sulfury kind of smell.
I don't know what sulfury means.
I'll explain it later. Almost rotten eggy, but not a strong rotten egg. Like just you can smell that twinge of it, and then there's also a mixing of it with something else, some other thing that you're not familiar with.
What if they got cooked and brewed?
A whole town?
Yes.
I don't know.
I'm assuming he hasn't been there in a while.
Who, Caesar?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you probably came in and bought supplies and then hadn't come in for a while. So, oh, your alteration. Okay, I see. I was looking at something different. So yeah, you continue down this dark pathway, and it gets bigger as you go, and you move in closer and move around, and it seems to be weaving down, and then a little up, and then back around, and you make your way, and you can tell that things have opened up, but it's way too dark to really get a good sight on anything.
I turn into a small. How big is it?
The area?
Mm-hmm.
You're not sure. It's really dark in here.
I smell around up here and see if I feel anything with my tongue.
You don't feel anything. You think that it's probably opened up, but everything's dark right now.
I see, and I slowly, on purpose, transform into a cat.
Okay.
Just trying to see.
You slowly transform into a cat. You can see a little bit better, but you can only see in very, very little bits. You can see the area around you. It looks like about 5 feet in each way. You can see that it's some kind of stone. There's stalactites and stalagmites.
Those crystal things like we saw in Branson?
The pointy things you've seen in a cave before, yes. They come down, and the ones that are on the ground that go up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Those white crystals that have those holes?
These don't appear to be white. These appear... You've got gray vision right now because it's dark, and you're just getting the black and white image. But from what you can tell, they're probably not white. They're probably some kind of stony color. And it seems to be further out there.
So I slowly walk over there. I transform back into that snake.
The snake can't see like the cat can.
Yeah, but I slowly move over there, and if I feel a wall, I do this.
So you're slithering along the wall?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you start slithering along the wall to the right, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You start to slither along the wall to the right. The cold stone there, and snakes don't prefer the cold, so it's not very comfortable. But you keep moving along the side, and you start to keep moving, and then you have to catch yourself because you think you've come to a drop-off as your head dangles out there and you have to retract it.
So I do this.
You point your head down. It definitely is a drop-off. You're not sure how far because, again, you're in your cat. You're not in your snake form.
I go back a little bit and I turn into a cat.
Okay.
Like a house, like an outside cat.
Okay. So you turn into the cat and you see that there's a drop-off there. And it does. It drops off. You can't see where it goes, but it drops off into darkness. And you're still in the darkness, and you kind of look around, and you...
I have an idea. I clang my spike tooth thing against... I turn into, like... I go back a little bit more. I go back like a foot or so more, and I turn it back into my normal form. And I get my machete-like thing and my dagger, and I go...
So you get your sawtooth blade, and
I do it.
You're trying to make a spark?
I'm trying to see a bit better, because sparks do let off a bit of light.
They do. You kind of snap them against each other, and they don't put off enough to really give you much to go on. You kind of look around when you snap it, and there's something. It doesn't look like a door necessarily or anything, but it's just like a wall, and the best you can tell is what you're getting the same from your cat thing. You're going to have to figure out another way to light things up to get a better...
Do I have any sticks with me?
You didn't take anything with you. You just got your normal loadout.
I mean, I have some arrows.
You have some... Yeah, you have some bolts for your...
How many do I have?
You've got enough. I mean,
like
you've got
65?
several.
Because
that's a heavy arrow.
30, 25.
It'd be hard to carry 30. You could probably carry 30 in a bow well, they're bolts, so you can carry a lot of bolts, but it's not feasible to carry a lot of bolts at one time. So you've got like 30 bolts.
I take one and I clank my spike tooth one on the wooden side, and my the thing is wooden. The thing I'm clanking is a knife. And my other thing, I go try to light it.
Okay, so
and I hold
you do
the metal
have.
part and I go.
So you do have enough flint to make a fire probably and do something like that. So as you are trying to start this, and the wood isn't really designed for catching, it's designed to be a good hardwood that doesn't break when the bolt goes off, so it's hard to catch. Just roll me a just roll me a d20 and we'll see.
A 2.
A 2.
I can't do it.
So you don't succeed at that, but you hear a clink as it knocks your dagger knocks against the arrowhead that would be on there, and it sends it ting 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 ting, and there must have been a slope downward, and you in that slope, the thing goes ting 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 in the empty darkness, and you hear in the darkness boom 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 boom.
So is that
drums start to sound from below you in the darkness, and that is where we will stop this episode. Bum bum bum.
It's been an hour already.
Yep. So thank you everybody for coming to this first episode of the Misadventures Continued campaign, and we have definitely started off in an interesting way. So if you enjoyed this, let us know about your suspicions about what's happened to Crosstown and what could possibly be going on. And as always, please do remember that all the content that you see on the Inn of Planar Crossroads is brought to you by travelers and viewers like you. Thank you. Have a great day. God bless. Goodbye. Say bye, Addie.
Bye.
This content was made possible by travelers and viewers like you. Thank you.